Hi, this is Nikki from Creation X. This is a video to talk through my studio build, which started in March 2020. So here they're measuring out the ground just to get the dimensions and digging out to give us roughly around 6 inches and take out all the tree roots. We shored up the sides and put in a damp-proof membrane and also the metal mesh. The truck arrived for the pour and the guys started to pour the concrete in. It's really important that you go over the concrete a few times to make it really smooth. We used bitumen paint around the edge and this acts as a waterproof sealant, and that's Magic getting his guns ready to start the build. The materials arrived from Travis Perkins and we set up camp, and that's Stuart starting the 4x2 stud work and putting in noggins. So we have the first outer wall studs up and we start to build and construct the roof. There's Stuart trying to coax a pigeon. We use 18mm OSB and 6x2 roof studs. The eaves on this build are quite large, and the reason why we had to do that was so that we could get the internal height as high as possible, which ended up being 9 feet, which is better for acoustics. We filled in every gap and also every join. We used RW3 acoustic insulation for the build, and that went on the inner and outer walls. We started to build the stud for the inner wall, and we used an isolation strip for the bottom plate so it decoupled it from the floor. We also had a 2-inch gap between the outer and the inner wall. That air gap helps for soundproofing as well. And we had a passive air inflow and an active out airflow, and the electrics came into the build nearest to the house. We used a damp-proof membrane underneath the plasterboard. We used 15mm plasterboard and 2 layers. We filled every join, every screw, and in between the 2 layers we used green glue, which also helps as a soundproofing compound. The acoustic doors, inner and outer, were both 41 dB, which gives us around 55 dB reduction altogether, and we used isolation strips in between to also decouple them. There's Jason starting the electrics. We made sure that we had 2 circuits, one for dirty and one for clean. Obviously the clean is needed for the audio. We started the roof as it was quite a sunny day, and we had probably about 2 days of sun, and then it started to rain, but luckily enough we'd finished the roof. So we finished the outside, the eaves and the guttering, and as you can see there's another platform there. So we put drainage along the side so that potentially at a later date I can build another room, possibly a vocal booth or something when funds allow. So the flooring, we put down downproof membrane, underlay and wooden flooring, and this is decoupled from the sides of the walls. 2 coats of paint later and we're ready to start getting the room ready, start the acoustics and getting bits in. That's the desk that Amy Powley-Williams made. It's a walnut desk, it's 4 units high and 3 compartments. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Amy. So Creation X comes from Generation X, and I'd written a song called DNA, and I was looking online for symbols and I found this when I was looking at chromosomes and DNA, hence the name. So that's me, all clean again after painting and ready to start the internal acoustics. So Amy cut out the templates. We found this template idea for bass traps online, so we put them in there just to test that the sizing's right. So I cut all the triangles out. My bread knife is really good for that task, and we created 12 of those, 3 to go in each corner, and covered them with Camira Cara fabric. So thank you EQ Acoustics for the fabric. So we started to put them in place, and as we put the third one in, we realised that we'd got our calculations wrong. Measure and measure again. So we made these spaces that we will put in to bring them from floor to ceiling. There you can see we've started to create the acoustic panels to go on the walls. We used 100mm RW3 to fill them with. And here are the legs that we've made to make the stands portable. I wanted to have the ability for them to be portable if I was recording, and then when obviously mixing, bring them back into the early reflection points. The diffusers are the only things that we didn't make. I bought 2 N7s and 1 N11 to go behind the drum kit at the other end of the room. And this is where things went a little bit awry. Unfortunately, I fell off the ladder putting the bass traps in, broke my leg and fractured my foot. Spent 2 months at home after 10 days in hospital recovering, and I'm now on crutches. So I'm dying to get back in so that I can put the diffusers on the back wall, put the clouds above the desk and the drum area, and get all the gear in. So I have a few thank yous: Stuart Strong and Magic Roots for the construction, Peter McKay and Ethan Weiner for all their advice, John Locke for the doors, Harpreet Kaur Singh from VDC, Robert Cottrell for the electrical trench, and Jason Oxley for the electrical installation, Tim Vine-Lock for his advice, and Amy Powley-Williams for the desk and all the internal help with the bass traps and the acoustic panels. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.